Yo, what's up? The guys over at TheKitPlug were kind enough to send me a few kits to use for this video, and I'll have them linked in the description. Today, we're making a track like Baby No Money. I'm aiming for a sound similar to a couple of his tracks off of his album Recess. Alex Gamushin, also known as Baby No Money, I thought it was pronounced bbno, is a rapper and producer hailing from Vancouver, Canada. Baby No Money was homeschooled and didn't go to public school until the 9th grade. He dabbled into music as a kid, learning how to play the piano and drums, but never really took interest into music until about 10th grade, mostly listening to dubstep and slowly getting put onto rappers like Chief Keef and Young Lean. Sometime later, he recorded his first song at one of his friends' houses after they just made a beat, and in his words, his verse was him just laughing and ad-libbing into the mic for a majority of the song.
Yeah. Here we go for it.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And that's when he knew he wanted to be a rapper. Him and his friends made a group called Broke Boy Gang, and they performed live and made a couple tracks before disbanding a couple months later. In 2016, he started a SoundCloud page under the name Baby No Mula and quickly gained traction for dropping songs and EPs pretty regularly, often collaborating with a ton of artists like D-Bangs, Trippy the Kid, and of course, Young Gravy. He also has a bunch of songs that got super huge for being on TikTok, like Nursery and La La La, and he has a huge following in China after a famous Chinese singer danced to one of his songs on national television, so that's pretty cool. You know, when this lockdown is over, I would like to go visit China, but I have no one to go with because I'm lonely. The production of melodies in his songs are usually pretty bouncy and upbeat, but the instruments being used in his songs vary a bit depending on which producer is making his beat. Downtime, one of my favorite producers, leans more on the use of dark melodies and woodwind instruments like flutes. Y2K's production tends to use guitars and plucks to play the main progression of the songs. You can hear that in the tracks like La 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 and Thankful. And Lentra's beats favor the use of tonal and pitched percussion, like toms and pitched 808s. To be honest, that's actually the instrument that all of their beats kind of have in common when they produce for Baby No Money. For my track, I wanted to go for that bouncy tonal percussion sound, and I made this interesting loop out of a video I saw on Twitter. First time I heard this, I was like, yo, that's a sample. I screen recorded that video and sent it to my Google Drive, and from there I was able to put it onto my FL Studio. After that, I found an 8-bar section that I really liked, and then recorded it into Edison as a new sample. And finally, I put that sample into Fruity Slicer, pitched it down, and created a new rhythm with it. I used an EQ to cut some of the lows, reverb and stereo shaper for some size, and this halftime gate preset in gross beat for certain parts of the track. It gave it a nice rhythm. For the drums, I wanted something bouncy and mid-tempo. You know, something you could do a little shoulder shimmy to. The overall feel of the drums should be punchy and fast, with a mixture of trap drums and percussion hits. Luckily, TheKitPlug has a ton of kits on their website that can perfectly capture that vibe or whatever vibe you're going for. These are the kits I'm going to be using in my track, and at the time of making this video, the Portal Drum Kit is on TheKitPlug's free download section of their website. I'll have all the links in the description. Here's the drum beat. I also added a more complex drum pattern for the hook of the song. And to go along with the drums, I made this 808 pattern. And here's the beat as a whole. Baby No Money himself has described his lyrical content as just catchy bars that aren't meant to be taken too seriously. A lot of his lyrics are about him taking a girl, flexing on others, and talking about his cash flow. And now that he's got some money, he often talks about how his name is an oxymoron. He mixes up his flow a bit, but he tends to go for those cool, choppy, and wavy flows. I've also noticed that he kind of raps with like an accent, and he doesn't really enunciate every word. He kind of mumbles, but it still sounds cool when he does it.
And next,
The ad-libs!
His songs are also filled with a bunch of ad-lib takes to make the song sound more busy. And his ad-libs range from just him repeating parts of his verse to having other sounds like mouth clicks and whatever this sound is. And for the hook of my track, I took some inspiration from his track Nursery, where the hook of that song plays off of popular nursery rhymes. I wanted to do something similar, so I started looking at some folktale stuff, and I ended up finding this Japanese folktale about this boy with a really long name. It didn't roll off the tongue very easily, so I went with the gentrified version of the story, Tiki Tiki Tembo, which is another story about a kid with a super long name. Real talk. I've been listening to Baby No Money for a couple years now. I got put on some early 2018 after hearing the song Coastin', and from my first listen and even up till now, I really never get bored with his music. I think his tone and flow really make for some really cool songs, and he has a great ear for production. I just wish I could rock his facial hair though.
Hey, skinny boy, saucy boy, I be running to the bank. Yeah, you know I hit the gas in the whip full tank. Riding past the ocean while I'm listening to Frank. Baby, ask if I got money, tell me what the fuck you think. Hey, what the fuck you mean? What the fuck you mean? Yeah, yeah. And I got the green like I'm Listerine. Yeah, yeah. Louis on the belt, Fendi on the seams. Yeah, fucking on your girl, wanna be. Yeah, Tiki Tiki Tembo, don't fuck up my tempo. Pull up in the Lambo, ain't no place I can't go. Switch it like Nintendo, get the innuendo. Looking like a snack, wanna eat it like a bento. Tiki Tiki Tembo, don't fuck up my tempo. Pull up in the Lambo, ain't no place I can't go. Switch it like Nintendo, get the innuendo. Looking like a snack, wanna eat it like a bento. Baby so fly like I'm riding fucking coach. When I get paid, put the bag in the tote. Getting kinda nasty with the money that I gross. Baby no money, but I'm far from being broke. Really TikTok, I got ice up on my watch. Go on TikTok, hear my music when I watch. Tires eat when I'm drifting in the box. If she not fit, I'ma tell her kick. Tiki Tiki Tembo, don't fuck up my tempo. Pull up in the